Do you own a gun?
Multiple.
Okay. Let's say you have a gun in the nightstand. How many people is it shot?
0.
Is your gun going to get out of that nightstand and go shoot somebody?
No.
It's not. Now, it requires two things, okay? It requires the ammo, the ammunition, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be in the gun. Gun doesn't work without the ammunition, but it's got to have a person with bad programming.
Right.
Right? Now, let's look at machines. We're all joined here because pieces of equipment, but all of us predominantly are using different forms of programming to ingest it depending upon where we're watching it,
Right.
whatever phone we have. So is it this that's making it work? No, it's software. Everything works by software. It doesn't
Right.
matter what it is. So you have to understand the machine world versus the software world. We do not in America have voting machines. The last voting machines we used in the United States of America, which really didn't have high concentration, was back when we had the Bush-Gore debacle in 2020.
Right.
Now, that was a punch machine.
Hanging chads.
So that technically was a voting machine because
yeah.
it's exactly pushing it and it tells it how to count it. Well, I believe now that was orchestrated.
I do too.
And that was
Sure.
orchestrated to usher in technology machines to do it. So here's how the machine part, which we'll deal with first. Number one, you always hear about Dominion voting machines or these voting machines. We don't have voting machines. We have voting systems, which you have Dominion software systems or Dominion voting systems. They are a software company. Now, when you look at what basically tallies the vote and puts it in the spreadsheet, it's actually a Dell computer.
Okay.
Now, it's a Dell computer that you can buy on eBay for about $462 that they sell to the state for about $65,000, and it's leased.
Of course.
But
10% back to the big guy.
our system is designed to be broken. It's not designed
To be secure.
to be secure.
Right.
And that's why they always tell on themselves, the moment the election was in process, they started getting on TV for the first time in history. And what were they saying? The most secure election ever. They were building the programming for us so we would repeat most secure election ever. We've never said that before time. So look at that as an outlier. See, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the coincidences
Okay.
because everybody's saying, let's look at the evidence. Well, before we get to the evidence, let's just kind of go back because what you have to do is you have to look at all the things that didn't happen before
Right.
that happened
I gotta
now.
get popcorn. I'm
Yeah.
craving popcorn.
I'm going to have to go to the
Keep
bathroom
going.
too. This
Okay,
is
so-
fascinating.
Here's what you have. And so they said it was the most secure election ever.
Right. Which means it wasn't.
First time they ever did it.
Right.
The next part of it is it was the first time that predominantly in the United States, default, most people are going by mail-in ballots,
Right. Because of COVID.
right? Yeah. It was the first time we're trying to implement a system during, quote unquote, a pandemic. It's the first time that there were arbitrary laws in the state that they could make it under pandemic rules. And so
Yeah,
they
because
started.
they heard and changed them.
Because they
That's
were
right.
unconstitutional.
So we can't check signatures right because of the pandemic. We
Right.
can't do this. So what happens is you start having all those coincidences. Now, one of the interesting coincidences about 2020, and everybody saw it, is you look on television, you basically see the numbers coming across the screen, and they change.
Right.
Yeah, well, I saw that.
Now,
I saw a
you
lot
know
of those.
this coming out of production. You have been in enough studios and enough production, you know nobody hits that freaking button for anything to go onto scene until that person's put up the chyron, a line director has checked it, a line producer has called it,
Yeah,
and then the
there's no
producer says,
accidents.
throw it on air.
No
You
accidents.
know it, I know it.
Yeah.
There are so many in between that. So why did we, for the first time in history, see it on TV? Here's why.
Why?
Because they needed to change the dialogue away from the crime into the very thing that's not enforceable. Here's how it works.
Wow.
When you saw television, the numbers change.
Right.
What you saw was what's called the Edison data. That is not the official numbers
Right.
of the election.
It's getting reported live to news.
Well,
stations.
basically,
Yeah.
it's the Associated Press and others.
Right.
But predominantly, it's about 3,000 college volunteers that are dialing precincts, saying, okay, where are you now? So the first part of it is, can a number be entered in wrong if the kids are putting in a spreadsheet? Of course it can. But let's just set that aside. It is designed to create drama and something to talk about on TV. And so they used this. It became a production element, just like when Ted Turner did CNN and we get ticker tape and all that. But it has never, ever been
Official.
the election.
Right.
Television can't decide the final.
Right.
But what the system allowed us to see is numbers changing on TV. So now when you take a population that hasn't been in production like us and doesn't understand, between that number getting on the screen, there's 5 people involved, and it didn't get there until somebody freaking approved it, right?
Right.
So they don't know that. So what they think is, oh, we saw the numbers change. It's never happened in history before.
Right.
Ever. Now, when you consider that, everybody started saying, they took the votes. They stole the votes.
I did.
Stole them, but they swapped the votes.
I shared that video 1,000 times.
Hang on. That's what you logically think.
That's
Right.
what they wanted you to
And
think.
that's what they wanted you to think. Now, let me
Wow.
tell you why they wanted you to think that.
Why?
Because it was a digital mechanical change. You watched it be this, it changed, it did this. Now, you understand that that's all digital.
Right.
You understand that's a machine.
Right.
So everybody started then saying the shorthand,
flipping the votes.
machines flipped the
the
votes.
vote, yeah.
I
Now,
said
this
that.
is your mind. It's called pareidolia. It's why you can see a face in a rock and think
Right.
it looks human. You're searching for answers. God gave us the ability to fill things in quicker, mainly to save our lives in the jungle, right? But boom, here it is. You fill it in, and so you're submitting the answer. Now, these guys are so smart, they knew it. But here's the real fact. Number one, in the United States of America, we don't have voting machines.
Okay.
We have voting systems which utilize scanners, printers, digital cards, softwares, and basically spreadsheets. But here's what they know. See, in America, for our elections, they basically decide on, okay, this is the approved software by which you can tally or conduct an election. It's an approved piece of software. It's approved by the Election Assistance Commission, which is basically a government agency.
Right.
And now it's that software and systems that's sold to states to run their elections. The companies then have pieces of equipment that are approved to run said software. Okay?
Understood.
Now, the media has taught us to say voting machines. When that's, remember, in court, you got to be literal. It's literal, okay?
Okay.
So it's a voting system, but here's the deal.
That's why they sued Tucker.
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
that's
he
what we're
said
getting
that.
at.
But I'm gonna
Get
give
on
you
the mic, Ma.
I'm gonna give you a layup here.
I'm just getting this as
You're
I'm
not on the
watching.
mic, Ma.
Get on the mic.
I'm just watching like a movie. Go.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you it because it's so
That's how
subtle.
Dominion won. But
It is.
anyway.
It's how Dominion won.
Okay.
And I started screaming early, but I was called a lunatic. But here's the deal.
That means you were right.
In the Election Assistance Commission, which folks, you can look it up. Go to the Election Assistance Commission website. And I'm going to explain every break in the system here.
Okay.
They approve a version of the software. So let's call the software Rosie 5.1, and that's the approved software. When the state orders the machines and/or systems, all they have to order is, this is the software, and we're going to run it, let's just say hypothetically, on this Dell computer. And that is technically approved. And that machine is configured with that piece of software and is sent to your county. Now, if you go to the Election Assistance Commission website, and you can read it yourself, the thing that sticks out is you've got to read the VVGL. And here's what it says. All of the rules, all of the guidelines, all of the suggestions of how you have to run your election are 100% voluntary. You can go look right now. Every rule to run the United States elections are voluntary compliance. And the Election Assistance Commission is made up
So
of...
there's no vows to the Constitution.
No, none. It's all voluntary. And the very board that makes up this body is the quote-unquote voting companies themselves. Now,
Wow.
what...
With no
Oversight.
No recourse.
No
Oversight.
vow
None.
to the United States well-being or
Zero.
the Constitution.
Zero. It gets worse. So the first thing you have to understand about the machines, and everybody's screaming about the machines, it'll never get a conviction. It's identical to Hillary's email, right? Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to, I couldn't do it.
Plausible
They got plausible deniability from the
Yeah.
bit and no enforceability. And especially in machines, they could say, oops, it was a boo-boo.
Right.
We didn't mean to do it.
Oh,
Now,
Didn't that
somebody
happen
made a
in
mistake.
Somebody
that happened
accidentally
in one of the
deleted
states,
some-
right?
What?
There was a flipping in one state that got in the machine. There was a vote flip.
no. What they saw was, and hang on,
Okay, sorry.
somebody was doing it, and yeah, the vote wouldn't take,
Right.
or the vote would go to the other candidate. But what did they get to say? It was a software bug.
Right. They did. They said
See,
it was a
that's the
glitch.
point.
Right.
That's the whole point right there.
Okay, go back. I
They
got
can't
you.
say, we programmed it and didn't want you to catch it.
Yeah, it was
They
a
just
software
say it was a
glitch.
bug.
Right.
So what they've done is they've built in the get out of jail free card into this. So when they got America to say the voting machines flipped the vote and they seeded a second word.
God, they're smart.
Oh, look, they have the best and brightest in the room.
Yeah.
And this is the handler
walk.
stuff. They go get them. They go recruit them.
Yeah.
And you either go for the dark side or you go for the light side, period.
Like
walked
Jack
through-
Smith.
Right.
You better believe it. You better believe it. You're either the token. Anyway, so they know you can't get any convictions on the machines. And so they basically chaos and game theory this out. Now, number one,
Yep.
Wow.
Dominion, you saw Dominion executives sit in front of Congress and say, we do not make machines that connect to the internet. And you're saying, you lying mother effers.
Didn't you hack a machine?
Hang on before I get there.
And
Quit talking.
I'm a huge fan of his. Sorry.
Thank you. I
It's
appreciate
like
it.
meeting Elvis for me.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna show you all this.
Sorry.
When he sat there, you're sitting at home throwing your popcorn at the damn screen, going, "You liar, you mother effer!" Right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal: they're not a machine manufacturer.
Wow.
Now, you heard them also say, "We do not make machines that have modems." You heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do not make machines that have modems and connect to the internet. Jake, when's the last time, brother, you bought a modem?
15 years, probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
We don't make modems anymore.
Right.
We haven't made modems in man, over 20 years.
Those motherfuckers.
Because they became integrated and they disappeared.
Right.
But what is the word they keep on using? And what is the word the media keeps on using on us? We don't use modems. We don't use modems because we take a shortcut because we understood it as a modem, but that's gone away. It's integrated circuit. It's built in.
Jesus
So when they say we don't even add modems in the machines, what are they saying? Here's what they're saying. We don't add modems in the machine because it's integrated to the freaking card. Now,
Oh, yeah.
that's the number one. So when they literally say
Jesus
we don't manufacture a machine with a modem connecting to the internet, they're right. Now, here's how they get around it. Number one, you can go to any state. If your state's ever done an audit of any kind of the machines, let me tell you how to find this because we exposed it. You look up the model of the machine they're using. More than likely, it's a Dell computer. And then in that Dell computer, you get a serial number of the machine.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a buddy that's in the computer business, like repair business, you can look up, right, that machine, and you will find it has a warranty on it because they have to warranty them in case something happens. And when you look up the profile of the machine, you will find they all have integrated cards with integrated Wi-Fi, 5G, cellular, everything.
Yeah.
But it's integrated, which changes the game.
Hey y'all, you need to follow my new page here, youtube.com/@Roseanne Barr Clip.